Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Youngevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paint, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. To the stream. Okay, Kevin, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
I apologize for the technical issues we've been having. Welcome to GPS and welcome to Ambrosine as well. And let's see if we can get Yvonne Cooper added to the stream. There we go. Everybody is here. Welcome to GPS.
Glad to be here.
All right. So, Kevin, let's start with you because I didn't get your title. What is it that you do at the Central Bank of the Bahamas?
I'm the External Relations Officer, and part of my responsibility is public outreach and public education.
Okay. Tell us what's happening. Any one of you who wants to begin this conversation, what is happening at the Central Bank of the Bahamas? What is it that we need to be aware of that is happening there?
Okay, so you may be aware that every April is Financial Literacy Month, not just locally, but globally. And at the Central Bank, we do take our responsibility to educate and inform the Bahamian public about products and services in the financial services sector that may benefit them, that may allow them to do the things that they need to do more effectively and more efficiently. This year in particular, we wanted to focus on payments, the way Bahamians pay for goods and services. It may, first of all, it sounds relatively simple. You go in the store, you pick up what you want and you pay for it. But if you think about it, we have so many options available to us, whether we're talking about paying in physical cash, whether we're talking about a debit card or credit card, online banking, online payment. Now we have a digital currency. The other side of that, though, is that too often we don't pay enough attention to what's going on behind the scenes, the systems that make that work, and in particular, the problem solvers and the gatekeepers of our system. And that's what we wanted to bring to the Bahamian public today. Both Mrs. Cooper and Mrs. Higgs are the kinds of persons who make sure that our systems are in place and operate efficiently. So if I might, Mrs. Yvonne Cooper, who is the head of our payments unit in the Central Bank, is the one chiefly responsible when you have, you write a check or you receive a check. Somehow there's a mechanism behind that allows that money to go from one bank to another. In addition, you get your salary paid directly to your bank account. Whether it's a business with 2 persons, a dozen persons, or a hotel with hundreds of workers, somehow every payday, that money gets directly to that bank account. How does that work? What's the mechanism behind it? Person to person's payment, business to business, bank to bank, somehow that payment has to take place. Then we have the new electronic payment service providers, your Canoe, your Island Pay, your SunCash. In any company or business looking to get into that business, the first step is you need to knock on Mrs. Cooper's door. Well, not literally, of course, but that's the first step in the application process to even begin that process. Mm-hmm. So you certainly need somebody like a gatekeeper like Mrs. Cooper. Then you have Mrs. Higgs, who is the financial sector ombudsman. It's a newly created position within the central bank, and the idea is that we need someone who is going to focus on consumer financial protection, mm-hmm. right? And dispute resolution. So if there's an issue that you have between you and any financial institution, Mrs. Higgs is the first step in that process. So we wanted to take the time today to talk about these people, the gatekeepers, the people who make sure that as a problem, this is where the resolution begins.
Wonderful. This is good information for us to know and understand. All right, let's go to Mrs. Cooper, seeing that as he described the chain of command or the chain of action, you are the gatekeeper. So let's talk about what it is that you do and the importance of your work.
Yes, good afternoon, Michelle. Yes, thank you for having us on the show. I wanted to just briefly speak about what the payments unit does. We were established back in 2010, just along at the same time as the Bahamas Automated Clearinghouse was instituted. What we are principally responsible for is the oversight of the domestic payment operators, that being the Bahamas Automated Clearinghouse, which processes payments of under $150,000, as well as the Bahamas Interbank Settlement System, or our RTGS, real-time gross settlement system at the central bank, which processes payments, large value payments above $150,000.
Okay.
Just one moment, I have a bit of noise.
Oh, we can't hear the noise, so continue.
Oh, okay, great. Yes, so what we do is we just ensure that the payment, the domestic payment system is safe, it's efficient, and it's competitive. We do that through quarterly meetings with the Bahamas Automated Clearinghouse, as well as the Bahamas Interbank Settlement System. So they report to us on any incidents that occur on a monthly basis. They provide us with volume and value of transactions, just so that we can see how the domestic payment system is actually functioning, all of the activities that is occurring, whether there are the trends are moving in an upward direction or a downward direction. And as Kevin had mentioned earlier, the payment unit, in conjunction with our bank supervision department, has oversight for the payment service providers. So he was correct in any entity or person desiring to provide retail payment services, electronic retail payment services, they have to speak with the central bank. Previously, the payments unit was tasked with the assessment of those applications and granting the licenses, but we have been, the bank has a moratorium on those applications. And once the moratorium is lifted, the bank supervision is tasked with the application for payment service providers as well as money transmission businesses.
Sounds fascinating. Okay, so finally we have Ambrosine Hyler Higgs. I apologize for calling you Hyler earlier.
It's fine, Michelle.
Ambrosine is the Financial Sector Ombudsman. Now, most people are listening to this and saying, what is an ombudsman?
I'm certain.
Yes, explain.
I'm certain. So, ombudsman, Michelle, just for your listening audience, and it's great to be here today, is really it's a Swedish term that speaks to representation and the representative. And so what the central bank has, in its wisdom, determined to do is set up a financial services ombudsman office. We're still very much in flight, very new, but we're looking at consumer protection and really addressing customer complaints as they relate to the financial services industry. And so certain, basic complaints, you're able to now come to the ombudsman, and as the office builds itself out, have that service at no cost to the Bahamian public in order to ensure that our industry is protected, and it's a robust avenue for industry-related matters to be addressed.
Wonderful. So, I'm glad you guys are here explaining all of this, because I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that when you hear the Central Bank of the Bahamas, many people don't understand that the work that you do is directly impacting our welfare as it relates to financial services in this country. They sort of think that the Central Bank of the Bahamas is this faraway entity that they don't really understand the role, et cetera. The only time they think of the Central Bank of the Bahamas is when they hear things like, oh, we're trying to regulate how much interest the bank is paying or whatever, something like that. Then they say, oh, Central Bank. But a lot of people don't understand the role that you play in terms of protecting the Bahamian populace and overseeing all of the activity of the financial services sector. So how important is the Central Bank of the Bahamas to do just that? I need people to get a clearer understanding of the role that the Central Bank of the Bahamas plays in our everyday life.
So, Michelle, if I might, the central bank, is the regulator. So persons having the sort of initial understanding that you described would not be incorrect. The central bank does, focus on regulation in particular. It has a supervisory arm, but there are also many other functions, foreign exchange control, currency regulation. All of that is being performed by the central bank. Persons often think that the central bank is responsible. One of the things that often comes up, responsible for setting bank fees. That's not the case. That's not a function of the central bank. The central bank licenses its licensees, its registrants, and there are certain parameters that those registrants must work in. Now, where I now come in the office that I'm working to create, we are now looking to set up this independent office that will look at some of those things, work along with industry, work along with the central bank to determine if there needs to be some codes or regulation standards in terms of how bank, conduct themselves in a more micro, environment. So there is sometimes that confusion, and though the central bank does wear many hats, it's important to understand that there is a distinction, between its regulatory role and any sort of other support it gives to industry with respect to protection, literacy, and education. And so the creation of the ombudsman is timely because as the industry develops and becomes, again, more robust, we realize that we need to have these avenues for our consuming public to really achieve the service that they want in industry.
What are some of the initiatives that the bank has ongoing that can help to help Bahamian people to understand more what your role is and to take advantage of any services that you offer at their benefit?
Kevin, I don't know if you wanted to jump in.
Sure. One of the big things, of course, that is in conjunction with what we're talking about today is the whole financial literacy education. And we have a number of avenues. Certainly, we have a financial literacy website called Get Money Smart Bahamas, where predominantly it's engaged in providing this sort of information to the Bahamian public. We also have, of course, associated with that website, Facebook page and social media. One of the big initiatives that the bank is currently undertaking is digital currency, the Sand Dollar. Yeah, and what we've done here also is we've created a separate internet site, a website for Sand Dollar information called sanddollar.bs. Everything that Bahamians want to know, need to know on an ongoing basis about the digital currency, the rollout, how it's going to affect them, how they can access digital wallets, etc., would be contained on that website. And sometimes I hear Bahamians would call me or email me and says, there's so much information on the general corporate website, central bank website, that how do I get specific information? So here we decided that we wanted to create a separate standalone websites for these specific type of information. Now, but we also have programs where we're working closely with the youth in terms of, again, financial literacy. For example, we have each year we have a video essay competition for students in primary school and secondary school, both junior and senior high. Where we're saying we understand kids are on their phones all the time anyway. So we asked them to create a short video, 2 to 5 minutes, on a specific topic that encourages them to do some research, to do some analysis, to have conversations with their parents and other adults about a specific economic or financial issue, and then create this very short video for the video essay competition. We also have the T. Basil Donaldson Research Prize. I'm sure you know, Michelle, that Governor Donaldson was the first governor of the central bank. He was also chairman of the College of Bahamas at the time, and also chairman of Commonwealth Bank. His focus has always been Bahamian students, Bahamian education, and demanding the best from us as Bahamians. So when we created the T. Basil Donaldson Research Prize, it's a research competition for Bahamian college students. And the winner gets $20,000 cash prize that they may use in the way that they see best for their education purposes. Right? And so here you have college students, and we thought, listen, if you're going to win the T.B. Donaldson Prize, you're going to be able to write a research paper that will get you an A at any university anywhere in the world. That's the standard that Governor Donaldson insisted Bahamians should not be held to any lower standard than anyone else. And that is what we expect and demand. And we're willing to put our money where our mouth is and say, if you can achieve the standard, we are willing to make it important, justifiable, worthwhile for Bahamian students to put in the time and effort to reach that standard, because we know that information, that education, that effort is going to stay with our Bahamian students throughout their lives. So those are just some of the programs that we have immediately on an ongoing basis, where we're looking to provide Bahamian students, Bahamian adults with the information to make their lives easier and better.
Wonderful. I often hear people say that one of the challenges that they have with our educational system is that we don't teach money. We don't teach the management of money to our children in the schools. And so they grow up as adults who don't understand how to manage their money, how to, invest and that kind of thing. As far as you're aware, is there any movement towards advancing financial literacy to the point where we are looking at introducing it into our school system as a part of the curriculum?
Well, we do have programs, prior to COVID, and I have to stress, prior to COVID, where we have had officials visit schools and we've had schools come into the central bank. We've also, of course, worked closely with the Ministry of Education when we were first moving with our video essay competition for the students. However, in terms of actually impacting the curriculum at the high school, that will be within the ambit of the Ministry of Education.
Of course, yes, yeah.
Right. But
Understood.
we do have a program, an ongoing assistance program for students doing the BGSE economics. Where they're able to reach out to officials of the central bank, do interviews, do coursework, the kind of requirements for them to complete their BGCSE economic courses.
What are some of the things that individuals can do to become more financially literate? I know you talked about the programs and initiatives that you have going on at the bank, but what are some of the things that individuals can do to improve their knowledge of money and the way it works?
Listen, all right. Too often we don't listen, and too often we are afraid of change, all right? Because we hear the word change and we think, oh, I can't do that. It's going to need to be something that's going over my head. It's going to make me look stupid, until we step back and we look at how far we've come and the things that we have begun doing almost automatically without thinking about it. I'll give you an example, Michelle. You may recall, you might be a bit young, but I'm certainly, you would recall a time when many of us in the Bahamas were getting paid in these little brown pay envelopes on a Friday afternoon. And then we got to the point where employers were saying, listen, I'm not going to pay you in brown pay envelopes anymore. You have to open a bank account and I will give you a check. And you had, 20, 30, 50, 100 people lined up at a bank, 15 minutes before the bank closed on a Friday trying to cash their checks.
Yes.
Banks hated that.
And so did the rest of us who were caught on the line.
Exactly. but then we moved to being paid directly into our bank accounts. Here we have this enormous change, but none of us consider this a major change because it's an evolution of the way things are. We went from having a quarter-sized penny, if you recall, in 1973, and to the point where today we have eliminated the use of the penny altogether because it was no longer serving a useful purpose. If you think about banknotes, how they have changed and evolved over the years. If you look at the banknotes from 1973 and look at the banknotes recently in the new CRISP series of banknotes, the most recent one is the $100 note, you will see two things in common. One, the note has changed enormously, but some of our cultural features remain prominent on the notes. Because although we continue to improve the technology, so the technology changes to keep pace, but we have worked very hard to maintain our cultural identity within our currency and our banknotes. So the idea is that, and what we're seeing now when we're talking about a digital currency, for example, we're saying it's the same Bahamian money that you've used all along. It's just that it's a digital format. you went from less than a generation ago, there was no such thing as a debit card in the Bahamas. Nobody had one. Yeah. Now debit cards are ubiquitous. Everybody has a debit card. Everyone has an online bank account. There was a time when credit cards was only for businesses or if you live in Life-A-Q or the Eastern Road. And the credit card was all US based. That means to make a credit card payment, you'd come to the central bank, get a dollar card, which was a little cardboard card, and you would take that to your bank. Now, everybody has a debit card, everybody has a credit card, and it is a natural, almost automatic part of what we know. So when we're talking about financial literacy and the evolving nature of our financial literacy sector, it is not so much a huge change. It's just how can I do what I do more efficiently? And that means as a Bahamian, keeping my eyes open, my ears open to new products and services that will make my life better.
And Michelle, if I might add, I would only add to what Mr. Demaret would have said.
Okay.
Insofar as where I sit and some of the complaints that come in, I like to tell some of the customers who are calling, let's be certain about what our contracts say, what the policies of the institution we are engaging are. There are choices in the market. We like to believe that we're a small country, so there aren't many choices, and all these banks are the same, I hear, right? But that's not entirely true. And you as a consumer are free and have the responsibility to ensure that you are getting the services that you are contracted or that the provider is contracted to give you. But oftentimes we disadvantage ourselves. We disservice, we commit a disservice to ourselves because we're not keeping abreast of what the policies are around the providers that we engage. I like to tell some of my consumers as well, don't be afraid to have respectful conversations with your provider. Always respectful, but don't be afraid to ask questions. I've gotten the response that, sometimes I speak to this person and they don't know, and I can't reach anyone here, but there are ways for us to ensure that we understand the processes whenever we feel dissatisfied as a customer, go through those processes. And then, of course, if you're not getting the results that you're looking for, the ombudsman is present. But it's important that we take that responsibility to Mr. Demerit's point, that we understand, what the institution's policies are, what we have contracted with this institution, what our duties and responsibilities are in this banking relationship. It's very important that we start to frame our interactions with any financial institution in that way. We are the consumer, and they are the provider. And service is key when we talk about any service industry. So we have to be educated consumers. And the only way we do that is to ensure that we understand what those contracts and policies are around our engagement with that provider.
So in other words, don't be afraid, or it's imperative that you read the fine print.
For sure. And don't be afraid. Do not ever feel afraid to say, what does this mean?
I don't
to your
understand
provider.
this. Yeah.
And if you're not comfortable, say, well, I'm not comfortable with that. Is there any way for us to look at it this way? Because again, as the consuming public, and I like to say, I say plainly, you have competitors in the market. We are all in this market, and your business is valued. And so if you're able to have the conversation with the provider, you oftentimes find that there might be some instances where providers can give certain considerations because you've raised the question, you've asked the question, you're looking for the clarity. And so I've seen that in industry as well. And we have to be comfortable. Sometimes the language you may not understand it. Don't be afraid to say, well, I don't know what this means.
Right.
Because it's imperative that our providers provide the clarity. Our legislation speaks to it, and Yvonne can talk about the Payments Industry Act or the Payments Act and some of those regulations that attend to that act that insist that banks are clear in terms, banks, trust companies, all payment service providers are clear in terms of what their approaches are to the consuming public.
Okay. Yvonne, you want to take that?
Yes, Michelle, we do have in the Payment Systems Act, as well as the Payment Instrument Oversight Regulations, guidelines that state to transparency in in the bank's financial operations, as well as their contractual obligations with their clients. And I wanted to add that for the consumer out there, whether it's an individual or a business, to go onto the central bank's website on a regular basis just to keep abreast with developments, any new developments within the financial sector, as well as the payments space. Knowledge is power. As long as you know what is developing, any new trends, you have that in your toolkit, and you can make more informed decisions, as well as you know how to reach out to your financial institution and what it is that they are obligated to provide for you. Another thing is many of the articles and guidelines notices that are on the central bank's website, they also include contact information, so that if you are unclear about anything, you can reach out to any one of the central bank's officers, or who are responsible for that area, as well as you have a general email that you can send in any concerns, any questions, any complaints that you have, and someone will definitely respond to that request.
All right, sounds good. Give us that email address again, please. Not
Yes.
email, the website address again, please.
Yes, it's www.centralbankbahamas.com.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, are you open in the,
Yes,
I'm sorry,
and
go
to
ahead.
just to look at all of the public notices.
All right,
So
great.
that drop down menu.
Are you all open to fielding any questions from our audience?
By all means.
Okay, we have a comment on Facebook from Rain. And Rain's question is there a process in place in the bank to accept investments from E-Trade accounts as yet?
The central bank does not deal with individuals. And that will be a transaction that they would have to discuss with their individual commercial bank.
Okay, all right. All right, for those of you who are listening and may want to ask a question, the telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260271. Boy, they was just waiting, the phone ringing already. Or 3260272, 3260272, 3260272, and our WhatsApp line is 824-9952. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
God bless. Good afternoon, Michelle. How are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
Pretty good, thanks. And good afternoon to your guests.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Two particular questions. Of course, the bank, the central bank has employees, but the public does not appreciate how does the central bank earn its revenue. Can they explain to the public how the central bank earns its revenue? And if any of them can answer the question as to the central bank's new building, when might that the bank be relocated, or the new building start construction, so the public can appreciate the plans that have been announced some years ago? And I'll hang up and listen to the question, to the answers.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Michelle, there are two questions, and I think I can probably take both of them. The central bank earns its primary revenue is from its investments. The central bank is responsible for managing the country's U.S. dollar assets, its external reserves. In addition, the central bank provides debt servicing for the government acts as its debt agency. It is through those operations that is principal income generation for the central bank. In regards to the new building, the central bank, of course, has acquired the property of the former Victoria Gardens property on Shirley Street, and that is expected to be the location of the new central bank building. Right now, we do not have a definitive date for groundbreaking. Of course, the central bank cannot act on its own, but in concert with the central government. So once those understandings have been agreed, the central bank will issue a notification to the general public, usually on our website, in terms of any timeline or schedule for construction to begin on that site. But that is the expected location for the new central bank premises.
Okay. Real quick, let's give each of you 1 minute to give us your final thoughts on financial literacy in the country. Let's start with let's save Mr. Demerit for the last. Ladies first. So, so Yvonne, you want to go ahead and jump in?
Yeah. So I just wanted to reiterate that persons, wherever possible, to take advantage of the information that is available. The central bank, we are open to questions, to queries, especially our payments unit. So feel free to contact us. Our email address is payments unit at centralbankbahamas.com. And we would just be happy to answer any questions they have regarding, any payments. We are largely responsible for payment settlements. If there's a question regarding, the timeline that is taking for a payment to reach your account, we are here and open to answer any questions regarding that. In case it's something that we may be able to follow up with our Bahamas Automated Clearinghouse, we can do that.
Okay, Mrs. Higgs.
Thank you, Michelle. And the only thing I would say, with respect to financial literacy is again to reiterate the fact that we are all responsible for our financial wellness. And Yvonne would have said it earlier, we are empowered by the knowledge that we have around financial services. And even though sometimes it may seem daunting, asking the questions and insisting that you get certain answers and that you're comfortable as you engage financial services providers will assist you in ensuring your financial wellness. And where there are any challenges, the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman is here to assist you as best as we can. We focus on any problem that may be barring a consumer from access or resulting in some inequitable treatment of a consumer as it relates to the policies and contracts that you have with providers. So, don't hesitate to call. Our numbers here are 302-2759. And you can call and run something by your ombudsman if you desire to do so.
All right. Thank you so much. And now, Mr. Demerit.
Thank you, Michelle. First of all, we appreciate you having us here to discuss financial literacy as we conclude Financial Literacy Month. I do want to leave your audience with a general contact for any financial literacy question. Certainly, if you have specific payments-related question or ombudsman-related question, both Yvonne and Ambrosine have provided those contacts. But if you want general information about any financial literacy question or concern, you certainly can reach my office at the External Relations Unit. It's exr@centralbankbahamas.com. Right? Even if the question is not directly related to financial literacy and you say, okay, I don't know who else to reach in the central bank or how to get to where I want to go, certainly reach out to the External Relations Officer and we will direct you and make sure that somebody is there to speak to your concern.
All right. Thank you so much to all three of you, Mr. Kevin Demerit, Ms. Yvonne Cooper, and Mrs. Ambrosina Hyler Higgs for joining us here from the Central Bank of the Bahamas as we wrap up Financial Literacy Month. All right. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
All right. So when GPS continues, we are going to dive into our open line. TGIF, you know the drill. You are my co-host, and we want to hear from you. What are some of the subjects you want to talk about regarding the week that was. That and more on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paint, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
All right, let's dive right into our TGIF open line show. The numbers to call 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0271, or 326-0272, 326-0272, and our WhatsApp line, not to call, but to send a message. A WhatsApp message is 824-9952, 824-9952. Every Friday, we talk about the week that was, and you are officially my co-host for the day. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Bishop.
Hi.
What do you think of the government making Rodney one independent contractor? What's your views on that?
This is powerful. Boy, you know, What do I say? I don't know Mr. Monker's expertise level. They say that he brings a lot to the table as it relates to the crime fight, because he's actually deep in the community. I don't know. Maybe they know something that I don't. So that's all I got to say on that. People are saying that there's a conflict because Wayne Monroe used to be on his show as a regular, and now that Wayne is in charge of national security, this is Wayne's way of rewarding him. Again, I maybe they have some information about his expertise that I don't. As you probably are aware, I at one point worked with Mr. Monker when I was the general manager of the Verizon Media Group, which is the parent company of the ILTV Studios, which is the studio that produces Eyewitness News. And so I had an opportunity to work with Mr. Monker during that time, because a part of my responsibility was oversight of the radio station as well. And I found him to be a pleasant fella, or, just what you see on TV or during his shows, what you get. He is who he is. And I know that he is very actively a part of the inner city community. Whether or not that makes him qualified to be a person who advises on crime prevention, I don't know. But who knows? Maybe he got some information, and inside information, because he's on the ground, that we probably just are not aware of. So that's my best way of trying to be diplomatic in what I say. Is that called? You have to turn your radio down or whatever you're listening to us on, because we're getting feedback. You still there? Okay, I think we need to disconnect that line then. All right, the numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and our WhatsApp line is 824-9952. Now, one of the stories that I thought was a big deal this week, revelations about this investigation into the Water and Sewage Corporation, and shocking allegations are being made against the former officials of the Water and Sewage Corporation in a recently completed compliance report, which highlights potential fraud. This is some serious stuff. Let's go to clip number 1.
A special investigation from the Internal Control and Compliance Division at the Water and Sewage Corporation has allegedly revealed high-level corrupt transactions regarding multiple projects, and General Manager Elwood Donaldson, who is currently on administrative leave, is being accused of conflict of interest and fraud. The special investigation is a part of an ongoing probe into the issuance of contracts and management of the corporation under the previous minister administration. Now, Eyewitness News sought to get a response from Prime Minister Philip Davis on the investigation, but he remains tight-lipped.
Matters of that nature will be handled appropriately by the necessary authority. I don't want my hands in it. Whatever is covered, the chips will fall where they may.
Prime Minister Davis not seeking to get involved into the ongoing special investigation into the Water and Sewage Corporation. Eyewitness News obtaining the report, which was completed last month, identifies 2 red flag projects that were of material value and required minister approval, but no such approval existed in the records of the board meetings. The evidence also persuades the auditors that there were alleged high-level corrupt transactions that caused significant financial losses to the corporation under the direction of the former board and General Manager Donaldson, who was on administrative leave, possibly motivated by self-interest, financial gain, or fraud. It further exposes alleged gross mismanagement in the valuation, supervision, and inspection of projects by the board of directors, along with incompetence in the procurement of the project cost estimates by the board and general manager. Now, the report reveals that General Manager Donaldson also served as Senior Assistant General Manager of Internal Controls and Compliance and would have been fully aware of proper policies and procedures. And it's a matter which consultant to the corporation, Loretta Butler Turner, says officials cannot speak to in great detail at this time, as she says the corporation's board has yet to discuss the compliance report.
It is unfortunate that that document is in the public domain. So until such time that the board has had to deliberate on that, we cannot speak to what that document contains. We have read it now that it is in the public domain, but that is a document that is still sensitive.
But LaTurner also revealing that no audit has been conducted into the corporation since 2019, and it's an issue which Butler Turner says the current administration is seeking to address.
There were 2 outstanding audits that the previous board had never even signed off on. We have just recently gone through those to ensure that that is done. As a corporation, there should be an official audit done each year and tabled in the House of Assembly. So you see now it would be going on 4 years that such an audit has not been tabled in the House of Assembly.
She also alleges that some executive decisions which former officials made were unconstitutional.
There were important decisions to be made by the previous administration that was perhaps made in the absence of a fully constituted board. And that is why this board has been ensuring that it is fully constituted and that various members and various aspects of the Water and Sewage Corporation are doing their own due diligence.
The report notes that, quote, notwithstanding this knowledge and experience, the general manager directly instructed acts to be performed that were contrary to the established internal controls safeguards, end quote. The investigation is also a part of a larger audit of services contracts at WSC from vendor engagements in excess of $250,000. The report reveals that Adams Landscaping, General Maintenance, and Elite Maintenance received contracts in excess of $100,000 in June 2020 while being a non-VAT registrant. Allegations against former WSC Executive Chairman Adrian Gibson suggest that Elite Maintenance Incorporated Limited, a company purportedly co-owned by his former fiancée, received a series of payments from WSC totaling over $500,000 between November 2018 and January 2021. He has since denied these allegations. According to Butler Turner, the board is expected to convene in the coming weeks to discuss the compliance report.
So somebody explain to me, please, how do you get a contract for $100,000 and you ain't got no VAT registration number? How did this happen? I mean, everything else that they talk about is serious, but that right there, how can you get a contract from a government agency for $100,000 and you are not a VAT registrant? You know, talking about Rodney Moncourt, I remember one time ago, Rodney Moncourt, who calls himself a card-carrying F&M. He said something on his show one day. He said, you know, we just do things through boards. His words, not mine. When he was, you know, accusing the Free National Movement of not being the squeaky clean party that they would like you to believe that they are. He said, we just do things through boards. I mean, keep in mind that the woman say no audited report. I come to you right now, caller. No audited reports presented to the House of Assembly since 2019. Keep in mind all of the suffering that people went through over the course of the pandemic when they shut down the economy. People on long lines just for $50, and y'all around here using allegedly water and sewage like it's your own personal ATM. If somebody don't go to jail for this, we ain't serious. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Miss Michelle Malcolm.
Hello.
This is Bernice Johnson, the original.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, as I give thanks to the Almighty God through Jesus Christ of Nazareth, enveloping us in the Holy Spirit in this still most commemorative season of Easter and the resurrection, leading up to the most sacred Pentecostal Sunday of the Holy Spiritual and the Ascension. I want to say good afternoon to the Almighty God's superstar, Hubert Alexander Ingham, former Prime Minister, whose era of truth is not over, only in divine display to do God's political work in tandem with God's ushered-in administration led by the financial expert Peter Galano's mentee, the Honorable Philip Edward Brave Davis, and with the 7 women who must speak truth always as this is an ushering in of divine truth that ignites love. Love applies justice. Justice equals to peace with understanding and forgiveness. This is the time for Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Those who do not believe, well, too bad, too sad for them. I have one point first, reference to a geopolitical. That's why I only call when God instructs me to. And this concerns the United States of America and God's divine and anointed and appointed 45th President, Donald John Trump. Most likely he will be the inevitable 47th president to be ushered in by God. Because there is one thing that is needed, and that is the MAIIDCC report that is necessary for all the attacks that has been on the United States of America presidential offices. Now that will be dealt with. That's why I said the only person who can get that report is Mr. Hubert Alexander Ingram, because from 1980, that is outstanding, and we need to deal with that. Now, I want to speak to one thing what you said about Mr. Rodney Munker. I am sorely disappointed in those women. That's why he always speak about the woman them, those former women parliamentarians. They can call upon Rodney Munker from way back then. I used to call on his show, and anybody who called in the show would speak truth. I used to go when he said that he took my mortal boss, former Prime Minister Hubert Alexander Ingram, and the Honorable Prime Minister Perry Christie in Black Village. I used to call him and correct him because sometimes he used to try to attack Mr. Ingram in a diplomatic way. And I used to call him, and he used to say, cut this one off, cut this one. This woman is from SID. No, I was not from SID. I was a part of a special project from the late Commissioner Gerald Augustus Bartlett. And I am sorry disappointed that those former women parliamentarians, all of Mrs. Janet Bostwick, her daughter, and all of them, listen here, Rodney Munker made those people who they are, because they could not really rely on nobody else. And they ought to speak truth as to why he is appointed. Mr. Davis did not appoint him. Mr. Monroe did not appoint him. I know the crushing truth.
Okay.
The Honorable Janet Bostwick, she is behind all of this, and I want her to correct the National Insurance dilemma down at NIB sooner than possible in Jesus Christ, my name, because she says she fights for women.
Thank you for calling. Thank you. Okay. Getting back to the Water and Sewage Corporation. And for the record, the Water and Sewage Corporation is not the only corporation where allegedly, because you got to say allegedly these days to make sure they don't try to come at you, where allegedly there may have been some less than honorable actions taking place. Another one is BPL. Now, when I was at Eyewitness News, and when I was at ILTV, Eyewitness News was the one that broke the story about some alleged skullduggery going on, or potential or possible irregularities going on at BPL, which led to this very public fallout between the then board, members of the then board, and the minister at the time, Desmond Bannister, who tried to discredit the then chairman of the board, Darnell Osborne, tried to make it seem like she was misappropriating funds. One thing he came up with was that she spent $700 and something on makeup for a photo shoot, and when Eyewitness News did the digging, We found the makeup artist, and the makeup artist said, I don't know why this man trying to do this woman, because they know that $707 was for about 30 people who we did makeup for. So we've uncovered, when I say we, at the time I was at ILTV, Eyewitness News uncovered that story and broke that story about some alleged potential irregularities going on at BPL. We saw where Darnell and others were unceremoniously let go. She's now suing because she says she hasn't been able to get a job since because of the stigma of that firing. We saw where another member of the board abruptly left. I think she left behind a 10-page letter. She said, I ain't going, I ain't taking this no more. I ain't gonna be a part of this. So something was going on, I can tell you, within that corporation. And now we see all of this coming out at Water and Sewerage. And this is from the very people who now the narrative is we are a party of transparency and accountability. One thing I could say they're good at is PR. But when you have evidence like this coming forward, I'm sorry, but your spin doctor got to go back to the table, because there's nothing that is transparent or accountable about what we hear coming out of Water and Sewerage right now. Nothing short of criminal. And I am going to be waiting with bated breath to hear what the spin doctor is going to come up with now to talk, to try to explain away what is being found in this report. Because from all appearances, it looked like Water and Sewerage was the ATM. Gibson was allegedly, a company that his fiance was a major part of, was allegedly paid to the tune of $500,000, which he denied, but unless there's somebody else out there with her identical name, and if that person is in existence, she need to come forward. But this is the kind of nonsense that was going on. And the pandemic only made it easier for this type of alleged skullduggery to be going on. Because while y'all in lockdown and too scared to come out your house, these people was ripping, just ripping, having a fine old time off of your money while you struggling to survive. And I ain't trying to say one party is any better than the next. I know everybody likes to throw rock at the PLP and say the PLP is corrupt, acting like the FNM is some choir boy. Clearly, they are not. I remember when I was at ILTV, and we uncovered all of what we uncovered, and some of what we uncovered we never brought to the public. For fear of our lawyers were like, you can't put this on the air because we can get sued. Some of what we uncovered, we didn't even bring. And I remember one of my colleagues at the time saying, boy, people say the PLP corrupt, but the FNM more corrupt than the PLP. They just got good PR. And the question is, if the Free National Movement had won this last election, would the ATM withdrawals have continued? While people don't have any idea where the next meal is coming from? Our former Prime Minister, Hubert Alexander Minnis, went and told the world that the Bahamas is a very corrupt place, and it was his desire to stamp that out. And you will recall they brought several parliamentarians before the court on charges of alleged corruption. Lost every single case. And meanwhile, this is the foolishness that was going on in Water and Sewerage. And I can tell you foolishness was going on in BPL. And probably elsewhere as well, that just ain't come to light yet. So is anybody going to account for this? Is anybody going to be required to answer for this? Or are they going to get another slap on the wrist? Because it seems that when the politicians do wrong, They only get a slap on the wrist. Now, F&M set precedents by taking them parliamentarians before the court. So now, if it is seen as a result of these investigations that some illegal activity went down, I don't want to hear from no F&M talking about, well, they just being vindictive and this a political witch hunt. Save that foolishness for somebody else. Because y'all ain't had no problem bringing them parliamentarians before the court when y'all was in power. Y'all open up this can of worms. And now we hear all of this foolishness coming out. I don't want to hear nothing from y'all talking about, well, there's a political witch hunt. Save that. Save that. Because the Bahamian people are sick and tired of being being ridden. I don't know if that's the right word. We tired of y'all riding us. That's what I'm trying to say. Let me just say it in colloquial terms. We tired of getting ride. Enough is enough. I remember the former prime minister talking about, oh, I'm going to have a full investigation into what happened at BPL, like he didn't know. Still waiting for that report. That never materialized. Numbers to call, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, or 824-9952, 824-9952. What else is going to come out of all of this investigation at Water and Sewage? And will we ever hear what really went down in BPL? What else is going to come out? And I will say this. I'm in no way saying that we should turn a blind eye to anything that is happening now under the Progressive Liberal Party. I would like to get to the point where all political parties are made to account for any wrongs that they would have done during their time in office. Because apart from that, this will just be like a merry-go-round. Okay, this go-round is my time to thief. I can thief as much as I could thief now. And then when you come in, it's your time to thief. So you thief as much as you could thief in your 5 years, because it's only a 5-year cycle nowadays. It's got to stop. Because y'all here telling us how bad the economy was and people suffering, and we know, we could see the suffering around, and y'all got y'all cronies going on with $100,000 and no VAT registration number. How that happen? How was that possible? Boy, I tell you, only in the Bahamas. Only in the Bahamas. We got to do better, people. And we have to require more of these people who we put in to oversee the cookie jar. It can't be that we put them there to watch over our money, and they don't only thief the cookies out the cookie jar, but they take the whole doggone jar. This foolishness has to stop. This friends, family, and lovers foolishness has to stop. And I know it was the Free National Movement that coined that term when they were talking about the PLP, but my God. Y'all got to do better than this, man. I see why they be fighting so hard to try win that next election, because they ain't want the truth come out of the foolishness what they done do while they was in. I heard about all kind of contracts that were issued to junior parliamentarians who gone in there with nothing and come out with mansion and boy, I don't know. The thing is this, though. I believe that we should know what went down, but we also need to hear from the Progressive Liberal Party what their plan is going forward. You can't spend 5 years telling me about what the last set did wrong. Because if that's what you're doing, if that's your plan, prepare to only be in there for 5 years. We need to know what the plan is going forward. And I'm encouraged by some of the things that I see happening, the embracing of the cryptocurrency and crypto space. They're doing some things right. Well, we need to, I think, hear more of what your plan is going forward. Don't spend all your time talking about what them last said did. I'm not saying that you shouldn't reveal through investigations and audited reports what happened. Absolutely, because we want to know. We need to know. We need to know. But we also want to know what the plan is going forward. Because in case y'all ain't noticed, as of late, there's a 5-year cycle. You ain't got a whole lot of time. And I'm not saying that it's not possible for any government in the Bahamas again to be in power more than 5 years. But Bahamian people, what? They done wise up a long time as it relates to that. You ain't getting your act together fast enough, you gone. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
JT calling back for your open line.
Hey,
Michelle,
JT.
if I may.
Hi.
You know, Michelle, let me first say this. The Bahamian people are obviously becoming more and more aware of the fact that the government doesn't make money. The government gets money from the taxes that it levies on you and me, members of the public. So in other words, every dollar that goes into those corporations must be accounted for to the public by the governing administration. They have no other moral choice. Of course, they haven't been doing it as they ought to have been doing it over the years. And you're right now about the Minister administration setting the precedents in respect to taking parliamentarians to court.
Mm-hmm.
And mind you, in my humble opinion, that was the right thing to do. But you can't tell me, Michelle, like you said earlier, that now if something is found to be wrong and underhanded with the situation with the water and sewage, that FNMs will start crying witch hunts. They can't.
They don't start crying that. They don't start crying that. Oh, this is not
Boy,
in the political witch hunt.
so as the saying goes, what's good for the goose
Oh,
is good for the gander.
you open this can of worms.
And if you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. And the old folks would say, time longer than rope. You can do as much as you like, but not for as long as you like. The other thing, Michelle, and I'll be very general with this, I find it hard to believe in the innocence of any politician, and this goes all the way back to the Commission of Inquiry in 1993 or so, that including this last administration's exercise, that any member of parliament can go in there on an MP's salary, which is what, $26,000 or so, and they don't have no other obvious means of income that the public would know about, but they come out with mansions and yachts and whatever have you. You cannot tell me that something was not being done wrong or inappropriate by whomever as to how come they could have such a big lifestyle on such a small salary. It's impossible for that to be done without other things being done that ought not to be done. And if they were doing things properly to get that kind of money, then they should have disclosed to the public, whoever they may have been or may be. And if this situation here, the water and sewage, comes about to show that there were some wrong dealings done, the Bahamian people have a right to know exactly who did it, what they did, and how they're going to be punished. And I support you that this administration must now come out and show the Bahamian people what are they going to put in place to ensure that these things stop or minimize. My God, look how quickly they put in that cryptocurrency bill. Look how quickly they put in the carbon credit bill, and both of those are good things. Why can't we be just as decisive and speedy with putting in bills that's going to keep the politicians in check in this country? And the other thing I'm curious about, before I get to that point, one of the greatest injustices with government in this country, and I saw it at the end of this last election, the National Economic Council, which is made up by members of the cabinet, who review projects, whether they're domestic or international, for approval in the Bahamas. To me, Michelle, that is one of the most wicked, not the council itself being wicked, but the fact that it's in cabinet is wicked. Let me tell you why I can say that. Prescott Smith, and I must continue to refer to him. The young man, even under Christie and under Minnis, had presented his proposal for the development of the for the approval to establish the Blue Hole Marina in Fresh Creek. He got approval under the Minnis administration, and that was announced by then Prime Minister Minnis, and never was the boy given the license to go ahead with the development of his marina. Okay? Now, shortly before the end of this last election, there was an article in The Guardian that clearly stated that I cannot remember the guy's name who was given Magamalami by the Ingram administration. I can't remember his name, but he was a Jamaican developer, I believe, him and a group of Bahamians reportedly came together in that article. Reportedly came together, had approached the Minnis administration, got approval by them, mind you, a few days before the last election that was announced, to purchase the Lighthouse Club and then to develop a full-service marina right down in the same area where Prescott Smith had his approval given, and Prescott Smith to this very day is still waiting. Now, you try, Michelle, there is no way that members of the cabinet who were on that National Economic Council, there is no way that anybody can convince me that something was not done that caused, one, Prescott to be frustrated, and two, for persons who did not have any parliamentary or cabinet positions to have then been put in a position where they could have been given such an approval on a project that was essentially already approved for another Bahamian. Who had it denied him? Michelle, there's so much crookedness going on in this country. My God, man. I mean, the letter Z ain't got nothing on some of this crookedness going around it. And every time I hear politicians speak, when they're talking about transparency and disclosure, Michelle, I just cringe. I could have told anybody that Dr. Minnis was not telling the truth to us, the Bahamian people, on many things that he was proven to have not been telling us the truth on. My God, look at that Oban deal. Huh? Look at the situation with the sale of the Lucayan Beach Hotel. You try to tell me, I mean, in any event. But I just wanted to call in and chime in on those 2 points. And please, if you could find Toby, tell Toby we need to find Jerry Roca in town. We don't have to be looking for Jerry Roca. We would like to hear from him as to how things may have gone with his court case on the 30th of March.
Well, maybe it was continued for, sometimes they don't finish everything.
Well, it'll be good if he can let the public know that too, because
he may not be in a position to talk
well,
about
that's true too. That is true too. That is true too. But see, this is why now Prime Minister Davis, when he was member of opposition and gave Toby his word, the Prime Minister now ought to have given that man that word in writing. I don't take the word of no politician. I don't care how well intended that word is. And anyway, my dear, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for calling.
You're welcome, dear.
Yeah. These people, many of them don't seem to have. I got to be careful how I say this. Anyway, I ain't call no name. A lot of them, honesty ain't, not the most honest people in the world. And I mean, it seems that they have perfected the art of looking you dead in the eye and lying and not even flinching. Because JT mentioned some of them. There are other instances of where we found out the truth that was in opposition to many of the things that we had been told. It's nothing more for many of them than a game. It's a game. And we are just the, pawns on the chessboard. This is nothing more than a game for some of them. And that's unfortunate because, my God, we are in desperate need of statesmen and women who put country first, whose love for the country will not allow them to do something that may necessarily benefit them, but not the nation as a whole. Where are those men? Where have they gone? Where are those women? Where are they? God knows we need some statesmen and women. You know, it's so frustrating. It truly is. And you want to remain hopeful, but then, you know, as soon as you have your hopes high, then something comes to dash your hope again in terms of revelations of wrongdoing or alleged wrongdoing by some of the very people that you thought were going to go in there and do the right thing, not just for them and theirs, but the entire nation. And, you know, the more this comes out, the more it's like, my doors, how much more ripping they was gonna do? I mean, millions and millions and millions of dollars. And yet we have some people who are so blinded by their party colors that they don't see nothing wrong with that because their party never wrong. But let the same thing would have been done by the opposition, the opposite party. Oh, they are a bunch of thieves. When your party doing it, you trying to justify? We are, as a collective, we got to take responsibility for some of this because we enabling these people to be what they are. We enabling it by not calling them out on their wrong because they just happen to be wearing the colors that we support. We got to stop this foolishness, man. We got to stop. Now, I did say earlier that I was impressed with some of the things that I see the Progressive Liberal Party administration doing. One of them is their attempts to introduce a livable wage. The Minister of Labor and Immigration, Keith Bell, recently told the media during cabinet briefing that while the cabinet still needs to review the proposal concerning a livable wage, it is expected to be introduced in the Bahamas within this year. Let's go to clip number 2.
In respect to the minimum wage, as you would note in our blueprint for change, that we indicated that we would have eliminated the minimum wage and introduced a livable wage. I'm pleased to report that the Department of Labor, the National Tripartite Council, they just about completed with their report. And from all indications, I can say everything looks very promising. As the matter has to go before the cabinet, I'm unable to say what it is. But I think that all of us in the Bahamian society would be very proud of what the council has been able to achieve. Of course, once it goes to cabinet, there will be widespread dialogue and consultation to make sure that we speak with the employers. Certainly we speak with the employees in the wider Bahamian community before anything else is done and legislation is introduced.
Now we're already halfway through this budget, of course, so we won't be seeing it this cycle. When is it expected to be introduced?
I anticipate that we would be seeing it sometime during this year. We're going to very aggressive campaign, and of course we want to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's to make sure that we get it right.
So if this does come to fruition within this year or whenever it does, that would be such a welcome move for so many, because my God, how people surviving on minimum wage is scary. And the thing is, as you all well know, while the salaries have not been increasing, the cost of living has been going up and up and up. I'm scared to find out how much it costs to fill my tank of gas right now for my vehicle. Price of food, they telling you, getting ready to go up again. It's just becoming more and more expensive to live. And to say that you expect people to be able to continue to survive on the same salary that isn't budging while everything else is going up is unconscionable. unconscionable. And many of these businesses are making huge profits. Not all of them, but many of them are. And they could afford to pay people more. So I say congratulations to the Progressive Liberal Party for trying to make this happen, for the Davis administration, I should say. And I really do hope and wish them well with it, that it does go according to plan, and that we try to ease some of the burden of the people of this country who have been going through a very, very difficult time. And this will certainly be a step in the right direction. So let's just keep watch and see what happens as it relates to this livable wage. But I do believe that that is a step in the right direction. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to look at the Attorney General and this whole question of immigration reform, and doing it through legislation and not going back to a referendum, because you know how you always act around referendum. We can talk about that on the other side of the break. Stay with us. This is GPS on a TGIF open line show. We'll be back.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here on this TGIF open line show where you are my co-host, because we're talking about whatever it is that you want to talk about regarding the week that was. The telephone numbers to call if you'd like to be a part of the conversation: 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0271, or 326-0272, 326-0272. And our WhatsApp line to send us a message, 824-9952. 824-9952 is the WhatsApp number to send us a message. So I have a Facebook message from Stanron Cooper, who says, increasing minimum wage can never make it livable. It will have a negative effect on the economy. It will drive the price and services up because businesses will pass that payout amount on to the consumer, and it will also increase unemployment because of job consolidation. It's the same reason now why inflation is happening. All right. Thanks so much for that comment. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hello, Miss Malcolm.
Hi.
How you doing, ma'am?
Great. How are you?
We are still waiting to hear the report from the generator in Freeport.
Mm.
We ain't heard nothing but that yet.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
The PLP got to be very careful, because if they are not going to deal with these cases and stuff, leave these things alone. Do not bring it out to the public. It don't even make sense. With this water thing to do, water and sewage, thank God for Ms. Butler. See, that's the kind of people we need who going to deal with these. But at the end of the day, it still leaves to the Prime Minister.
Mm.
And that's the reason why, if this was Dr. Minnis, he was going to deal with these things long time. That to show you the strength, even though he was maybe not being a good Prime Minister, but he would have dealt with these cases long time. We hear about all these different cases and stuff in government, agency and stuff like that. And if the Prime Minister, look at the sports, look at what's going on there. If he is not going to deal with these things, just leave them alone. Just tell the people, okay, you all have a nice day. Do what you all have to do.
So do you think they're not dealing with it?
I don't believe some of them going to come up. See, because the Prime Minister trying to please this one and trying to please the next one. Whether you please people, whether they can vote back for you, if they can do it, they'll do it. If they ain't do it, but if you deal with the situation and show the nation that you are not playing, that nobody, if they have mind to do whatever they want to do, they will think twice.
Well, I don't know if I agree with you that they're not going to deal with it. I do remember the Prime Minister saying that,
okay,
what comes out, let the chips fall where they may.
Okay. We hear them talk already,
Yeah. Well,
but how come the generator in Freeport, how much money that is now?
Well, I don't understand your logic to say that if it was Minnis, he would have deal with it, because we're under Minnis. I still waiting for the report from BPL. I still waiting for to find out what happened to the stuff, to the paperwork that disappeared out of his office on Oban. So
No. What I'm saying, if it was the PLP government in power, and they did something.
You mean if it was the F&M in power and the PLP did something?
That's what I mean. The F&M was in power.
Uh-huh.
So you see the last time when he came in power, and you see how quick he started dealing with these
right.
things?
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so
I mean, a bunch of investigations are underway, so let's see what comes out of it. Let's see what comes out of it. Maybe they're rushing to come forward until they have all their ducks in a row and all the I's dotted and T's crossed.
Okay.
So let's see what happens. They are investigating. There's a lot of investigations. Go ahead.
Could I just say something before I go?
Uh-huh.
Okay. When Mr. Davis was the opposition,
mm-hmm.
when he said he read a report about one of the F&M ministers for at that time in Long Island, he said he sent this report where we supposed to send it to. The commissioner come on the TV and say he haven't received no report. So in other words, now, since he saying he received a report, so where this report is, then we still supposed to deal with these things. We have these men sitting down inside Parliament like everything is just all right, and well, what it is what it is. Okay, Ms. Malcolm.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for calling. I mean, let's see what happens. I know at least they say they investigating all these things, all of these probes that are happening that are unveiling all of the alleged misdoings. So let's see what happens. I would prefer that they take their time and get it right than rush to take people before the court and lose every doggone case. Because to me, that was a waste of money. So they move fast, bringing these people before the courts with no case. So I'd rather you take your time and get a strong case before you go running to bring people before the court, and then everything got to be thrown out because you ain't got no case. And then the people turn around and sue the government, which is really suing us because we's the one who got to pay for it. That don't make no sense. So if that's why it's taking longer, then take your time. Because we don't need to be bringing people before the court unless we got strong cases enough to win, not just bringing them for a PR exercise and then come to find out you can't even anyhow. Yeah, that don't make no sense to me. I mean, they didn't win one single case. You know how much millions of dollars we spent? Ridiculous. Okay. So as the government prepares to table legislation for citizenship reform, the Attorney General Ryan Pinder is defending the move to bring change through legislation as opposed to constitutional reform. This amid public debate that the matter should be taken to referendum again. Pinder, however, stressed that after 2 failed attempts to bring about constitutional change, this would be the best option. Let's go to clip number 3.
Well, we have failed twice to change the Constitution. And it is an important element of equality of our people that they see themselves equal amongst each other. And if that means doing it by legislation, that's what it means. And if they take us to court, they take us to court. Everybody takes the government to court these days. Doesn't mean they're right. You clearly stated that the Constitution provides the avenue to provide citizenship that is not covered within the Constitution, which is what this is doing.
Okay, so I'd like to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this? Do you believe it's a smart move, or do you believe that it should be through a referendum, or are you of the opinion that the referendum is a waste of money and time? Because we've seen from both major political parties that they were unable to get a referendum passed on this regard. And so does it make sense to just go straight to making the legislative changes? Now, Arthur Folks, who was the one remaining form of the Constitution, he also had something to say. Is that a caller for the show? Okay, he also chimed in about what the Attorney General is proposing. Here's what he had to say.
That's a good step with what is being proposed now, but that's legislation, which is all right, which is good. But still, the change need to be made in our fundamental law, because some future parliament can change that. The whole idea of having these things entrenched in the constitutions, they're not so easy to change. That's the whole, and that's the unfortunate part about it. And on the face of it, the equality of women should be unquestionably entrenched in our Constitution. And I hope, despite all the talk today, that we, at some point, we decide to do that. And I believe that if the politicians get together, the leadership on both sides, and agree on these things and go to the people in the right way, I think many people will accept.
So a part of the challenge is when you're talking about going to referendum, here's the challenge. The past 2 attempts at making the change that was necessary through referendum failed because the political parties used the opportunity to treat it as a political football. They politicized the debate. And so instead of people looking at the issues and making a determination based on the issue, they allowed politicians to sway their way of thinking, especially those who didn't fully understand, because they turned to their politicians as guidance, and the politicians were playing political games. And so, it was opposed because we didn't bring it, or oppose it for whatever reason. It was used as a political football both times. And so I agree with what Arthur is saying. What needs to happen is that we need both parties to come together, agree on the wording, vet it with all of your QCs and all of your, sharp legal minds, make sure it's airtight, agree on the wording, and then put it out in referendum together, saying we both agree on this. Because the minute y'all come out making it seem like it's us against y'all, it will become another waste of money and time, because people will vote strictly by political affiliation, which is crazy. Women voted against themselves because their politician tell them, no, don't do it because this, or don't do it because that. That's crazy. That's absolute madness. Just goes to show you how polarized this country is when it comes to politics. I mean, we all know it. But twice, women voted against themselves. Strictly political football. So if y'all serious, when I say y'all, I'm talking about the politicians, the legislators. If y'all serious about making this change, then why don't y'all all come to the table together on this one thing? I ain't saying you got to agree on nothing else, because I understand, you got to be in opposition to what the next one's saying and doing. I get that. But for something this important, I think y'all need to lay the weapons down just on this. Come up with wording that you all can be happy with, and bring it back to the Bahamian people with a united front, and let's get this done. Get it done. Because it doesn't bode well, it doesn't look good on our part as a nation that we still kicking this football around. It makes us look very uncivilized. So that's my recommendation, that both parties come together and agree on the wording, agree on the way that it's presented, come with a united front to say, we all agree on this, because Sir Arthur is absolutely correct. If you only do it legislatively, then somebody else can come behind you and change that. Whereas if it's entrenched in the Constitution, then that is a different thing, because the Constitution is the supreme law. We have a call on the show, on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hi, good afternoon, Miss Malcolm. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
All right, thank God for life, for you. Good day to your listeners and your producer. Miss Malcolm, we just heard a story where, I don't know if I don't know if I should say if the lady was lesbian or if it was a domestic dispute, where the lady, one woman killed the next woman with a gun. What you think about that? Because, like we talk about domestic violence, and all of us was making uproar, and we didn't like when Heavenly got killed from the young man. We talk about how a man keep killing women. Man is the mean, and I agree. The mean said would bring harm against children and women. This one with a woman shoot the next woman. What's your view on that?
I think it's just as egregious as when a man kills a woman. Domestic violence is wrong no matter who's perpetrating it. Obviously, murder is wrong no matter who's perpetrating it.
All us agree with you with that. But what with the part with I think you even had some women on the shows talking about domestic violence and stuff. But what about no uproar on this particular case? And when you listen to the news, they say the lady was charged, remanded to Fox Hill Prison. They didn't say, well, you know, normally on cases they say you get catch with a gun, some other charges or whatsoever. But I ain't hear nothing like that.
I think there was a big difference in the way this was reported as well. Because if I
You
remember,
was in agreement with me, you thinking, what'd you say?
I think there was a big difference in the way it was reported to the media. If I remember correctly, it was when we initially heard of it, it just said that the woman was shot by a woman known to her. So it wasn't initially clear if this was some kind of domestic situation, relationship situation. It wasn't really clear.
No, it wasn't.
You know what I mean? They didn't report it.
But by now, you think they know now? You think is it clearer now? Is the water still muddy?
It's clearer now, for sure.
And no noise, no women's advocate, nobody. That's why Rodney always marching them up, because they have an agenda, you know, with this man and woman thing. And
I don't know if I agree with that.
well, how come they don't come out on serious things like this? And I hear a story where, without calling which department, the department where you wear a uniform, one big chief was in charge of this department trying to root out crime and corruption, and she being victimized. But you never hear these big shot women and these organizations say nothing about it. Even with this case we're talking about now, what you think, Pussy?
I think a part of the reason why there is not so much of an uproar is because
they surprised, they stunned?
No, let me finish.
They don't know what to say?
No, let me finish.
Oh, sorry, Michelle.
I think it's because of the frequency at which it happens with men against women, as opposed to the
that's what I tell you. That's what it's about, man and woman. It ain't about one death. It's two. I mean, it doesn't matter who kills. I mean, if a man or woman kills you,
I agree with you. What I'm saying is, when you have 95% of the cases being men against women, and 5% a woman against a man or other, then obviously the attention is going to be paid on the 95%. That is not to say that the 5% should not, receive attention or not, be taken seriously. But if you weigh 95 to 5,
you gotta take it seriously, because the 5% could turn to the same 95 you can put to announce with your mouth.
Well, I know about that. But
yeah, it could happen. It could happen. Anything is possible in life. If you don't pay, like you say, you must pay attention. You know what I mean? That it's only 5%. You don't pay attention, because you can imagine the women picking up more women picking up guns.
No,
and even killing men.
Like I said, I'm not trying to justify what happened. I'm not trying to.
Nobody could justify it, Miss Malcolm.
Nobody's trying to.
Surprise, nobody making no noise about it.
But you asked why there's no uproar, and I'm trying to explain to you that the uproar is obviously focusing on the 95%.
Yeah.
It's a big difference between 95 and 5, and I'm not saying that we should not pay attention to the 5. But when you look statistically at how much it's happening the other way,
you got to pay attention to the two sides, the 5 and the 95. I know you agree with that.
Yeah, but don't make it sound like, oh, this is a regular thing happening, and you're
no, it's not a regular thing. It's surprising that we against anybody killing a domestic, children or whatsoever. So it might be 5%, but one life is the same thing as the 95% we're getting killed from. And let's move on from that if it's possible. You were saying something, but with the Attorney General, I call him White Boy Archer with the most respect, if you don't mind. Ryan Pinder. I wonder if I understand what they're saying, and then I listen to what the man named Sir Arthur. Sir Arthur, yeah, Arthur. And I kind of get confused why I said it, right? It almost sounds like with the number boys, them, and let me say it this way. It almost sounds like we can go change the law to how would I say it, accommodate like people who break in the law. It ain't the children falls who come here by illegal.
No. I think that's one aspect, but you
that's why we keep voting no against it.
No, hold on now. You're forgetting the whole thing about women being able to pass on their citizenship to their children.
Yeah, we had a vibe with that too.
Say that again?
I said the majority of us who voted in the last two, we had a problem with it too. That's why we voted no.
I don't know that women who voted against themselves understood what they were voting against.
You think they were smart enough to know what they was voting for?
I know of situations of women after that referendum who voted no, going in and trying to get citizenship for their children who fell under that category. And when they were told, that's what the referendum was about. Oh, I didn't understand that because remember now that was tied into the whole thing.
That's what I want to say. Maybe we could blame it on how they put good things with bad things.
Exactly. It was presented in a poor way. It wasn't explained properly.
We wanted that, but we wasn't into. Even us who's Campbell, we wasn't into the way Mr. Christie them was doing it. We think like they was doing it for the boys. You see, one set of people have the monopoly on owning number houses. I hope they don't do it with the marijuana thing. If I could, and if you don't mind, you was talking about the bread basket. I know. I want to say some of the bread basket items, but what you were saying earlier, you saying they starting this the livable wage thing, what was promised in the blueprint, what we voted for.
They said that by the end of that sometime within this year that should be a reality.
Who said that?
Bell.
Keith Bell.
Yeah.
Hey Joe Keeper, say the end of this year. They remind me how they do it sometimes when it's time to get paid. They say you can hop on Thursday, you can get paid Thursday. Then they say by Friday, so you know that's next week, or so possibly you don't even get it. But I like to, I don't know if the word is admonish or warn or remind. Keith Bell and the cabinet and my prime minister them, things like the livable wage, what was promised. Talking about by the end of the year, boy, y'all, hey, I tell you, they only strong for themselves, their friends and family and lovers. Like when important things were important, that is, you might say, but it don't work that way. They gotta do some things. They gotta talk to the employers and all that stuff. Yes, we know that, but every day you hear the cost of living. You hear us begging you to take the 10% off the bread basket items, right? Maybe if we deal with this livable wage and thing, we could afford to pay these 10% on medicine and get tax on these kind of things. But you could talk about by the end, they jokey way. They jokey.
He didn't say by the end. He said that within this year. He didn't say by the end of the year. He said within this year. But let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, they better hurry up and do it because it's something important. They have a livable wage. Their checks will be good. They can afford to pay for it. Now with this thing with the bread basket items, what I understand, what I learning every day, I talk to some people who are sitting on these boards. They talk about how they sitting on the board from the last 5 years and ain't nothing happened and all that stuff and just a bunch of talk. And it was recommended that we start to put some nutritious or some good stuff, healthy things on the bread basket, like fruits and different things and things like for the baby and different things. That I understand, simple as we call it a bread basket or bread casket items. Bread is not a bread basket item, they say. I don't know if I remember what they tell me.
No,
they say rice is not.
No, man, I don't think that's right.
You got to check it out. They say bread ain't on the basket item.
No, I don't think you're right with that.
Yeah, I could be wrong. They say rice in there. They say meat in there. I asked them if the baby cereal there because, you know, when we make noise the last time, the former government, and they take the water off the medicine and the bread basket items, we was asking for nutritious, good things for us to do, but they never did get to that. So, you know, like you say, they can get it. You say earlier, you didn't say these things, but it come like, you're saying, give them chance or they with the livable wage. You see this bread basket item thing? Mr. Davis, them say they care about the people so much, right? And it ain't personal, and I ain't talking about just for me. I'm talking about on behalf of people like me and people who are even voice than me. They could add fruits. They could add fruit. They could take the water off the medicine. They could take it off. They could add bread if bread is not on it, or meat or baby cereal and stuff like that. These simple things to do. Why put pressure on the behemoth people? Why do that when you say you care about the people?
All right.
Keep up the good work. Have a nice weekend, Mom.
You too. Be safe out there.
Okay, Mom.
All right. I wanted to play one more clip, but we ain't gonna have time. That last caller took up the time, so that's fine because you guys are my co-hosts on a Friday. Listen, I want to encourage everybody to be safe out there. Think before you act. Give everybody some space to be human, and let's just try to love each other more. Stanron says, what's the use of making more money when your dollar value goes down because of price increases? I hear you, Stanron, but if you look at what some people are making in this country, no. That's my time, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you guys next week with another 5 days of exciting shows. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Take care, everybody.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is 99.5 Global FM, your number one source for R&B.